This is me reviewing Linus Tech Tips' recent controversy that some of you can't find a straightforward explanation for. Warning, I'm going to be doing this deliberately as an ignorant person using a single source of information, which is always a bad idea, and I'm going to state the following. If the information I just read from the one source I looked at, which I never do, if it's accurate, then I'm going to give a conclusion based on that. Obviously, if I read a bunch of them, I'm going to have a different conclusion unless they all agree to this. Linus Sebastian was the CEO of Linus Tech Tips, a YouTube channel and other things that reviews hardware. Him and an assistant did a video that was uploaded apparently June 24th, reviewing a unique prototype version of Billet Labs Monoblock. It's a high-end $800 plus CPU and GPU water cooling system. It's meant to run on a specific video processor, the GeForce GTX 3090. The manufacturer said, however, that the device would work with a 4090 card instead, after Linus Tech Tips said all they had was the 4090. And I'm going to review this in a minute, but that was a gigantic freaking mistake. The GPU really wasn't a proper match for the cooler, so LTT said the following in their conclusion. The best case scenario for this thing is the temperatures are slightly better than other coolers might do, is implied. The experience of building with it is a nightmare. He isn't specifying which particular heatsink or block. The advantage over literally any other solution is negligible. Later, Linus Sebastian, the guy on screen most of the time, refused to retest the cooler using the video card it was actually designed for, even though the rest of his studio and other helpers said that he should. Now, it was June, July, August, a couple of months later, August 14th, there was a call out of Linus Tech Tips and Linus Sebastian by their direct competitor channel, Gamers Nexus. They questioned the accuracy, ethics, and responsibility of the channel or the group, accused it of rushing content out the door in order to achieve quantity over quality. Their editor-in-chief claimed that Linus Tech Tips then sold the one-of-a-kind monoblock prototype after it was finished with the device rather than returning it to the manufacturer as he supposedly promised to do so. Now, I'm going to be taking apart this whole thing in layers, but this is what I'm reading from a long drawn-out article where they did the sentence structure to where it's hard to read. I'm going to try to get it done in a few more seconds here. Linus Sebastian admitted to sloppiness, not about the build or the vid, but in the handling of a controversy. I'm sorry you were offended. Stepping down as CEO either before or after this, and he complained how quickly pitchforks were raised. Now we're going to do this WAPTEX style. Hi, Billet Labs. We'd like to review your water cooling system that you're hyping and you're doing pre-orders on. Okay, well, it's $800, but here you go. Okay, did I pay them or are they giving it to me, and is this considered kind of a promotion? I'm going to get a GPU and CPU cooler. Central processing unit coolers are either totally custom for a particular chip or they're generic. I didn't see anybody discussing that. Next, the video processor has to be specific. And everybody fucking knows that. It's a water cooling system. I haven't seen the video. I'm deliberately not doing. I'm only using a single source here. Remember, this is a dumb thing to do. I'm doing this as a demonstration how stupidly bad I could do this. Let's do it. Does the water cooling system do parallel mode where it's cooling both the video and the CPU processor at the same time through two different loops, or are they running in series? Now, has this been done before? Fuck yes. Lots of people have done it. Sometimes the equipment is directly compatible. It's basically a water pump, a pool of water or a container sometimes, and it runs water through the coolers to cool them down to usually another radiator with a fan on it. It's a heat transfer system. And depending on which thing gets hotter, the processor, the video processor or the central processor, you run it in one way or another. Now, let's do this really quickly. The company that made this, and it's a prototype, it's a one-of-a-kind, it's a demo. When they were contacted, all we have is a 4090 card, it's made for the 3090. They said, go ahead. We don't know how well it'll work, but it'll work. So I'm Linus, and I'm sitting there. Bitch, please, did you just tell me to go ahead and do this when literally compatibility is critical? That's what I would have said over the phone. You really want me to do this? Because if it screws up, you're going to look like crap. Do you really want to do this? I wouldn't redo the test either. Oh, it'll work, but we don't know how well. Okay, well, we're going to do the video. Is that about right? Again, I'm play acting here. Don't get after me. Next. His review. The best case scenario, the temps are slightly better than other coolers. The experience of building it, however, was a nightmare. Advantages over literally every other solution are negligible because of the build experience. Is this build experience problem caused by the incompatibility? Or is it caused by something intrinsic to the way the thing works? I'm going to find the video, obviously. Maybe they've already taken it down. Maybe I can find a duplicate. But the point is, he said it would be slightly better than other coolers. It is better. For $800, it'd have to be at least a little better. But, so, here we go. Mistakes made. Hi, I'm a maker of $800 water cooling systems, which, by the way, I would never use in any computer. I just won't. I will use a heat pump before I do that. Don't ask. That's obviously an ignorant statement on my part, on purpose. I'm baiting you. Because I'm the master. I'm not saying it. You did it. If I'm making a water cooling system that's $800 and someone says I don't have the right video card, I would tell them, Mr. Sebastian, don't do the test. It's not the right video card. Oh, it'll work. We just don't know how well. That's the same as don't fucking do this. Billet Labs made a minor mistake with that. They should have said, no, there's no way, don't do it. It's already prototype stage. It sounds like a GoFundMe program to make a perpetual motion machine kind of thing. Oh, they're on pre-order? Oh, you're not really done with the product? I wouldn't have reviewed it. I'm not kidding. Is it a production example? No, then I'm not going to do it. I'll wait till they're available. You can send me one and I'll send it right back after testing it, if you want to. Next thing is he wasn't complaining about whether it worked. He was complaining about it being very difficult to put on. I've seen 100 videos of people putting on various cooling systems for a computer that were a screaming pain in the ass. And unless they provided a massive improvement in performance, safety, stability, something, they were never worth it. That's a very legitimate thing. Was this difficult for them to put on? Okay, test. Was putting the processor cooler, the one for the main processor instead of the video card, difficult as well? If it wasn't, okay, then it's just about that GPU cooler. Then it was because of the incompatibility. If they were both hard to put on, or if there was some other deal, like maybe it was the plumbing. I mean, plumbing and computers shouldn't go together in my mind. I'm an old fart. Okay, I know this is a long, drawn-out video already. This is a stupid subject. But this is, again, I'm using a single source, which you never do. I'm speaking from ignorance on the subject matter we're talking about, and a shit ton of experience with something similar. Next. He was called out by a competitor claiming he sold it instead of returning it. I don't know if that's factual or not. Nobody's tested it. Are we fact-checking Steve Burke? Are we fact-checking that this was accuracy, ethics, and responsibility problems? They were rushing content to the door in order to do quantity over quality. Linus Tech Tips is a quantity channel. I don't presume they're going to do deep dives. And then I get surprised 99% of the time, I'm defending Linus now, for doing not just a deep dive, but objective scientific testing. And they say, well, this is unscientific. Bullshit. You're doing comparisons that are actually valuable. All of it, if you want to go from a strictly science, real testing environment, you could say he's definitely not scientific testing. You can call everything a rush out the door. No, he goes through a very gluttonous environment, an entire industry, where people are trying to compete with each other by half a degree Celsius change. And he's much sought after. So Linus Sebastian admitted to sloppiness in his response to the controversy. He stepped down as the CEO at one point, complained how quickly the pitchforks were raised. That's a legitimate response. I think he's biting his tongue. I would have come out a different way. The company said we could test this with the CPU and the GPU. It didn't work on the GPU very well, or maybe the CPU. Again, nobody's specifying if he had a problem with both. It's basically a beta product. It's they haven't finished it yet. So but it still cooled the equipment. It did okay. I'm not retesting it because they said it would work. They shouldn't have said that. What they should have said, and again, this is to Billet Labs. Somebody calls you on the phone, yeah, we don't have the right processor and video card combo. Well, then don't do the test. Well, you send it to us, send it back. If you don't have the GeForce GTX 3090, you can't do the test. Now, I'm going to bring up some real basic technicals. A or B? Did this have hoses connecting these monoblock heat sinks? Could they send just that part of the monoblock to do the test later? I've seen Linus Tech tips sit on a piece of equipment for 3 months waiting for the parts to show up that would work. Did Billet Labs encourage him to go faster? Now, I'm speaking from ignorance on purpose to demonstrate you don't use a single source for your data. Also, this is an explanation and opinion by PCGamer.com. And whoever the author is, I'll put them in credit in the line below. I'll put all their names in the video title. Fuck it.